some of my top movies from 2023. Again, I'm not going to go in the order of like best ones because some of these I really like for different reasons. But I'll just kind of give you a couple movies. Maybe some of them you have seen, maybe you haven't seen yet. But these are just, of course, some of the films that stood out to me that I absolutely had a good time with one way or another. Let me just start off with this one. This one's also on Netflix. It's called Maestro. Now this might not be for everyone, okay, but this is a movie that I found compelling. I thought it was interesting. It has to do with the legendary conductor Leonard Bernstein, who I had no idea who that was. But he's played here by Bradley Cooper and Carrie Mulligan. She plays his wife Felicia, and they had um an interesting relationship, to say the least. Again, I didn't even know who this guy was. I don't follow, orchestra conductors, but apparently, if you live in New York, I guess he was a very influential person. Especially back in the 70s or something. I think he was like one of the first people to actually be televised with orchestras and all these different things. But the relationship is definitely something I wouldn't say it's on Will and Jada level, but it was different. It was different, especially for that time. But my goodness, so Bradley Cooper directed this, and this is the second time he's directed a film. And the last time he directed a film was A Star Is Born, and I had not seen the previous A Star Is Born movies because it's been a movie that's been redone multiple times. But I wanted to give this one a shot, and I mean, listen, I got emotional. Like it was like there were some scenes in here that are tough to watch, but Bradley Cooper was fantastic in this. The direction was cool. Again, I know it might not be for everybody. It is more of a drama or whatever, but I thought it was pretty original and interesting nevertheless. So Maestro was one of those films that made it for me. Another one that was kind of interesting that again, I just thought this was kind of cool. This was Air, and Air was the movie directed by Ben Affleck. Of course, it's got Matt Damon in there. You see Chris Tucker. It's got Marlon Wayans. It's got Viola Davis. And Air is a movie that is basically about. It's not about Michael Jordan, but it's about the Michael Jordan shoe that Nike created. So it's basically how did Nike come about making one of the most popular sneakers of all time, the most popular brand shoe, and it tells that story. So I know some people were kind of like, how come we don't see MJ in there? I mean, you do, but not really. But it's not about that. It's about these two executives and how they came about getting the shoe and going about that. Because we know everything else, but we just haven't heard that side of the story. Viola Davis, I thought was fantastic as Mama Jordan. And yeah, it was just really, really interesting to just kind of see the story behind all of that. And I just thought that the writing was pretty decent. I mean, Matt Damon gives like a pretty good speech in there that, like, again, unless you've been living under a rock and you don't know who Michael Jordan is, you can't help but to feel a certain way when you hear him talk about Michael. And it was just definitely, I thought, when Ben Affleck and Matt Damon come together, they do really, really good things. So that was one of those films that was really, really high on my list. Let's see, what else do we have? You know what? Here's another one, and I don't know if you guys, I don't know if it's been released or not yet. I think it is out, but Ava DuVernay has a movie and it's called Origin. And Origin is, whew, man, this is a deep, deep movie. It stars Anjanou Ellis Taylor. You might remember her from King Richard. She does a fantastic performance in this film. You also have Niecy Nash, John Bernthal in here too. This is a tough, tough movie to watch. It does deal with so the movie is based off of the book called Origin, I believe. And it's from a best-selling author. The book basically came out right off the heels of George Floyd of his murder, right? And it entails the Trayvon Martin, killing, and um, racism in America and the Indian caste system and Nazis and the Holocaust. Like it's going to make you question more things about what's really wrong in the world. And while I still kind of have a couple questions, a couple things I would push back on, I thought that, especially being an adaptation of the book, I thought it was a really, really good one in that sense. The acting is phenomenal in this for sure. But let me just kind of give y'all a trigger warning. It is very, very hard to watch. I mean, again, you're dealing with very, very deep, sensitive cultural issues. You're dealing with family loss. So if anyone has recently lost a family member, it might not be something you want to run to go see. But I mean, if you know Ava DuVernay's pedigree, if you've seen Selma 13th, like if you know what she does, this is probably one of her best things that she's made at all. So like I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a fantastic film. I kind of wish it would get some awards, but I got a feeling it's not going to get promoted like that, so it probably won't do that. It probably won't get there. But it was definitely one of those films that I really personally enjoyed. Another one to kind of make it a little bit lighter. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Like, talk about when the year of comic book movies were kind of lacking, when we was lacking from Ant-Man, we was lacking from Thor 4. James Gunn pulled out Volume 3, and you know what? This was a fun time. This was not bad at all. I definitely thought that this was now I don't have this better. I still think volume 1 is better, but I do think this was better than volume 2. So I really enjoyed it. I thought the story with Rocket was definitely, it hit home. I mean, who knew I was going to feel something for a space raccoon? Um and then the main villain, the high evolutionary, oh man, Chawudi did a fantastic job playing that role. And the character, I thought, was done, he was done very well, also. So that volume 3 I thought was a nice reminder that comic book movies are not going to go anywhere as long as they're just good. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy was absolutely one of my um more appreciated films for 2023. Then to kind of keep the action going. Now, you wouldn't have action without John Wick 4. Man, oh man, John Wick 4, that right there was my jam. Keanu can't make, like, this is his new bread and butter. Okay, let's just be honest. I mean, The Matrix was fantastic. That was the greatest. That was just wonderful. But John Wick, this man has literally, with this franchise, redefined action movies. We now have new labels in terms of how to describe movies by saying, does it have John Wick action? You know what I'm saying? So like, the fact that he was able, listen, and this man been part of two things, because the Matrix did the same thing. When the Matrix came out, y'all know, after the Matrix came out, everybody started doing the slow-mo bullets. Everybody want to do the slow-mo action. Like, the Matrix put sci-fi on the map. Okay. And John Wick did the same thing with action films. For a long time, action films was all about just a bunch of guns, dude with big muscles and blowing up explosions and stuff like that. Now, can you just whoop everybody's tail? That's just what John Wick is. Okay. And this man has done his due diligence with this series. I like the way it ended. I like the way it built up. I'm still not over the stairs scene. I ain't never been so, I don't know, anxious with a flight of stairs in my life with anything. Because I was looking at them stairs like, come on, man, what? No! Upstairs got me. But yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite ones. Now I'm gonna shift a little bit to horror. Now I'm not gonna play nothing because I know y'all some scary faces. Okay, I ain't gonna do nothing. I ain't gonna, trust me. But what I like, because I am someone who likes horror movies. Y'all know I get down with the horror films. Talk to me. I really, really enjoyed this movie. Not because it was the scariest, not because it had the best acting or anything like that. I enjoy this because of the originality behind it. When you watch so many horror movies like I do, they start to feel very cookie cutter. They start to be very predictable. And it's almost like kind of a waste of time because all they want to do is just scare you with cheap jump scares. But Talk to Me, this did not do that. Like this movie really did do something um original and different with something that we already knew. So we've seen demon possession type of movies before, but this time they made it so modern, so realistic. I was just like, yo, this ain't bad. This ain't, I'm not mad at this. So Talk to Me was definitely one of those films that I had a good time with, that I thought was really, really solid, original, and worth the watch for sure. Let's see. There's another one here. I think we're gonna stick with horror. Again, I ain't gonna mess with y'all scary faces here. Now, this one right here, No One Will Save You. Boy, that right there. Listen. I like this movie. Now, I know the ending was not for everyone. If I'm reviewing it, I'm taking points off the ending because I thought the ending was not tight. I'm not saying I need a happy or a bad ending. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there were more questions and not in a good way. However, take the ending aside. Forget the ending. This movie had me pressed. Okay. This movie had me pressed the entire time because I was just sitting here like, wait a minute now. What y'all finna do with these creatures? What are y'all doing? This stuff was like terrifying. Like when I tell you, if you've ever had a fear, I guess it's a mild spoiler, but if you've ever been scared of aliens, you ain't been scared until you watch this. This right here is the best I've seen them take aliens and make them terrifying. Like all of the listen, that little alien, woo! When they got on the house, woo, 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 and the car, woo, the basement, woo, woo. Listen, I enjoyed the mess out of this. This was fantastic. And to top all that off, they said maybe like 7 words in this whole movie. No words were really spoken. I'm sorry. Like I think that was like just one of the lines. That was about it. But this was creative. It was exciting. It had my nerves up, but I definitely enjoyed No One Will Save You. That was good. Again, the ending, I get it. Not for everybody. I get that, but that was a good solid film. Another one, and this one just came out. This is probably going to be up there for awards contention. American Fiction. Now, I have told y'all this for a while, and I'll say it again. Jeffrey Wright is one of our best actors out there. This guy is just the epitome of when it comes to range. He will. I mean, listen. Don't forget, this guy was. Y'all remember Shaft? My man Peoples. That was him. Okay, that was my man Peoples back then, right? So he's come a long way. In other words, he's come a long way. But this movie was so original and so different that I really enjoyed it. So if you ever watch something like Sorry to Bother You, where it kind of makes a sort of satire comedy type of thing, except for no horses in this one like that. But this was along those lines, but I think it stuck the landing, and I think that overall the film was just brilliant. So for those of you that don't know, American Fiction basically deals with this author who he is, obviously a black author, but he does not cater to his work to be black. In other words, he'll write about stuff, but it's not about the black struggle or anything like that. And he's sitting here wondering, like, yo, how come my books don't sell? How come don't nobody want to buy my books? And then next thing you know, you got Issa Rae, her character, she's writing in a very culturally thick, way of black writing. We went to the store and we be going out, blah, blah, blah. Like she wrote her book like that, and people love it. She's making all this money, all this attention. She's getting all these like people love it. So Jeffrey's character is like, oh, that's what y'all like. Y'all want me to just basically, be Mr. Bojangles with the whole little writing and stuff. Cool. So he writes this book that basically walks in those same footsteps, and it also becomes successful. But now the whole thing is, what do you do? Do you keep up this charade? Do you like tell people, nah, it was all a joke? What happened? So the whole story is hilarious, but at the same time, they also like it has humor in it, but it also has like a tenderness to it. I mean, you got Erica Alexander here. I really enjoyed her character too. Because you're also following this guy who has a lot of issues. Besides the whole black thing, but he has his own issues, his own insecurities. He's got his own family drama that he has to deal with. So I thought that was a really solid film. Just overall, especially with the commentary that it has to make when it comes to the consumption of black culture. I thought it was very, very on point. So American Fiction, definitely something I would highly recommend. Definitely loved it. I think one of the best movies of the year, and I don't even care if it's animated, Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. My goodness, this movie right here really put my faith into the fact that yeah, we can have comic book movies that can still blow you all the way away. And that's exactly what Across the Spider-Verse did for me. This movie I already liked Into the Spider-Verse. I thought that was already I thought Into the Spider-Verse was in the conversation for one of the best Spider-Man movies. I thought it was, because I still had Spider-Man 2 with the GOAT, Tobey Maguire, up there, and I still had No Way Home in there as well. So for me, it was kind of like a three-way conversation of like, Into the Spider-Verse, No Way Home. I don't know. But Across the Spider-Verse, in my opinion, that is the best Spider-Man movie, because it literally did everything else that those other three movies tried to do and then some. It took the whole idea of an original character with Miles Morales, just like Into the Spider-Verse. It took the heroic nature of what makes Spider-Man, just like Spider-Man 2 did. It took the multiverse concept and ran with it. Just when everybody was like, I'm tired of the multiverse, this, multiverse that. Listen, I'm not complaining when you taking all them Spider-Man and women and you actually do a good job with it. Again, this is why I keep telling y'all, it's not the fact that we getting so many of these movies and they're all doing the same thing. It's because sometimes these things are not written or executed well. You're tired of bad stuff, not of good stuff. And Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was great stuff. The fact that we actually got this man to dig deep into what it means to even be Spider-Man, canon events, identity issues. This is what superheroes were created for. Not only were they meant to be role models for little kids and stuff, but they were created to deal with a lot of the thematic issues that we have in life that sometimes we not built to deal with. And he did it. Nah, I'm going to go do my own thing. Go ahead, Miles. That's what I'm talking about. This movie right here should have absolutely been, and I hope it does, it should be nominated for Best Movie of the Year. I'm not saying it should win, but it should be in the conversation, not just best animated. It should win that hands down, but it should be in the conversation, at least for being nominated for Best Movie of the Year at the Oscars. So that was it. Now, one other movie that climbed up my list very fast in a short fashion, and I had no idea this was going to be so good. No idea. The Color Purple. I was blown all the way with this movie. I saw the original movie, the 85 movie or whatever. And trust me, that's like a staple in black culture, right? Like, you everybody and their mama seen The Color Purple at some point. And you're talking about historic and memorable legendary roles played by Whoopi Goldberg, Oprah Winfrey, Danny Glover. Like the characters are iconic. Everybody, you got the three fingers cuss, and all that stuff. You do right by me, like you got a whole lot of things that Harpo, who is this woman? You got a whole lot of stuff from just this little IP, right? From that came from the book. But this movie was not based directly from the book, and it was not based off of the movie. It was actually based off of the Broadway play. So the play, was more of a musical, and therefore this movie was also a musical. Now, I'll be the first to tell y'all, I don't be checking for musicals like that. That's not my jam. I could count on one hand how many musicals I've seen and actually have really liked. And this is definitely one of them, because this movie right here takes you through the emotional roller coaster. Woo, we go through it with Celie. Woo, we go through it with her. I mean, Coleman Domingo, shout out to that man. That brother is phenomenal as an actor. He plays Mr. and he does it very well. Taraji P. Henson as Suge. Oh my gosh, she been trying to tell y'all she's talented, and she is talented. Corey Hawkins is Harpo. Her was wasted. Okay, you can't have a beautiful voice like her and you just gonna let her just say like 2-3 lines and sing one, like half a bar, a quarter of a bar of a song like that to me was a little disrespectful. Now Sierra was in there too, but she was also pregnant, so I get, okay, that's fine. But I'm just saying, if you're gonna have her in there, have that girl do a whole solo. But Danielle, woo, Danielle as Sophia. Yo, Danielle Brooks, that's her right there next to Fantasia. By the way, Fantasia was fantastic. Fantasia was great. She did her thing. Danielle stole that from me. As Sophia, hell no. She stole that show for me. She played the role that Oprah played in the other film, but my God, that the thing that I think really took this over the edge for me was I saw this in a theater twice, and I saw it with other folks, right? Predominantly black folks. And it would be something that I would encourage people to do. So if you're not black, I don't care what color, whatever race you are, if you're not black, if you can watch this movie in a theater with other black folks, I feel like that is when the full experience of what this movie can do will be communicated. Because if you watch this streaming at home and you don't get all the references, there's going to be some things that are going to be missed. If you are, like, there were certain things that, like, I mean, listen, my theater was interactive. We was yelling, we was screaming, we was laughing, we was crying, we was praising, we was doing that. Talk about a communal experience. That's what The Color Purple gave. And this is basically what you want movies to do. You want movies to be something. I mean, this is why you go to theaters. This is, again, why I told y'all theaters ain't going nowhere, because when you have a communal experience like this, the only other two movies that remind me of a similar experience, not the same but similar, would be Avengers Endgame, because when Cap grabbed that hammer, everybody was like, what? Right. And the only other one I could think of was, no, actually I could think of another one, Hangover. I saw The Hangover for the first time in theaters. That movie, everybody was in stitches. We was busting a whole gut. I'm laughing with people that I ain't never think I was even gonna talk to in my life. We all had a good time. And A Quiet Place. You guys tell me, when A Quiet Place came out, and if you went to go to the theaters, did anybody make a sound? Did anybody even touch their popcorn? Did anybody go through their little candy bag? Didn't nobody make a peep during A Quiet Place. Because when they said it needed to be quiet, it was quiet. And that was the communal experience that A Color Purple kind of gave to me when I went to go see it. And that put it out there. I was just 100% with it. So that was definitely one of the best movies, in my opinion, of the year as well. And that kind of, let's see, I think that wraps up all of them. Yes, I did it. So that wraps up all the movies for 2023 that I really had a good time with. If you enjoyed any of those movies, please feel free to let me know in the comments down below. If there are movies that maybe didn't make my list, because I could only talk about so many, please feel free to let me know in the comments which ones did you enjoy in the year 2023. Diddy, what you got? Godzilla minus one was the top movie for me this year. You know what? I should have added that. I was getting it's just so many things I could add to the list, but absolutely. And that I should have added that to the list. That right there was one of the best movies that came in last minute under the radar. And I was totally gonna ignore it. If it was not from one of my friends, I was like, man, come on, man, let's just go watch it in IMAX. I was like, man, we ain't got nothing to do. Fine, let's go. Great. Great film. I knew I forgot some. There's too many movies. I knew I was gonna forget one, but Godzilla minus one was absolutely one that should have been up there. Thank you so much for watching. This was just a segment of one of my live chats, and if you're interested in joining in on the next one, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications for more. I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.